Start of the final week of camp here at the University of Colorado. Georgia Tech prep seems to be underway as well. We have a scrimmage from last Saturday to go back and talk about, though. Just big takeaways from that scrimmage. We saw some crazy plays. What'd you see, though?
I saw a slow start, man. I saw a slow, sloppy start that frustrated Coach Prime. But one thing about when Coach Prime gets frustrated, people answer the call. So all's well that ends well. I thought it was a great scrimmage when we got to the end. Big plays, dynamic plays on both sides of the ball. Trackhawk is special. Isaiah Harts is special. They're going to get the ball. They're going to make some noise. But there's one of those things that I chalk it up to just week 3, tired of hitting each other. And then you had to be like, all right, let's huddle up. Let's get motivated. Let's get refocused. Scrimmage went well in the end.
I want to ask you a little bit about the center position, because as we were talking about earlier, Jake and I, quarterback competition gets a lot of publicity, but there's a center competition going on. Let Coach Gunnar White tell it, between Zary McGill and Cooper Lovelace. What have you kind of seen though from those two guys as they battle for, top spot in that very important position?
They're battling.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think they're both capable. I think you could draw straws or flip a coin, but it's also going to have a lot to do with the synergy with the quarterback and mistake-free snaps between now and then. But both of those guys are very capable. And that's one of the things you want, Scott. It's like whoever's going to be that guy, you want to go into games knowing we got another guy.
Definitely.
And that's something we haven't had in the offensive line room in the past. So these competition battles that are going down to the wire are actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Going back to Trackhawk, that play that he had in the scrimmage, I mean, has he had the most impressive summer/spring of any late arrival from this transfer class?
I would think so. I think that's fair because I think a lot of folks didn't know what to expect. And when you see it, and when our fastest guys can't catch him, he's not getting caught, man. Right. He can work out as a slotted receiver. He can come out of the backfield. His yards after catching, he turns on those jets just phenomenal. He is a playmaker. He's a big playmaker. Something that's designed 5, 7, maybe 8 yards tops, he could take it 80.
What kind of weapon do you think Tyreekus Davis can be? Because it seems like he could potentially be that third corner on the field alongside DJ McKinney and Preston Hodge, and he's flashed quite a bit this fall camp as well, getting his hands on the football, making some ridiculous acrobatic interceptions or whatnot. What kind of weapon do you think he could be, and how has he kind of earned the trust of the coaching staff to be in this position?
I love the coaching he's getting. Coaches pour into guys that they know have it and can turn it on and can get to that next level. And I would say he is going to be that third guy. I think he's made enough noise in that room. He gets his hands in the right places at the right times during practices and scrimmages that the secondary trusts him, the coaches trust him. His athletic ability is there. He's there with Hodge and McKinney, so I think he's the easy third guy, easy pick.
Switching to the other side of the ball, we know we're loaded at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Just how deep does that rotation run? How many guys do you expect to play at that position in week 1 versus Georgia Tech?
Let me go with 5. All right, let me say 5. But if someone makes a mistake, right, and comes out, and another guy goes in and does well, that guy that comes out may sit a couple weeks. This room is talented, it's deep. It's about who's going to make the big play, of course, but it's more importantly about who's going to be consistent. And that room, from the freshmen all the way up to the seniors, you got guys that are capable. I really think it's going to mirror the wide receiver room in the past, different guy each week.
Well, Georgia Tech prep kind of underway. Can you just maybe talk us through a little bit of that transition out of the camp flow into Georgia Tech into the season?
So you still technically got a few days of camp left, right? Class starts on Thursday, but we're out of the camp business. We're out of full pads trying to knock the hell out of each other. It's about going to Georgia Tech, game as healthy as we can be. So today officially started those installs. Today started with an assigned scout team to mimic and give us the good Georgia Tech look. So from now forward, man, everything is about that game 1. And I thought today started off with the right tone because it was serious. It was like, all right, how sometimes in camp you playing a little grab ass, playing. Today's practice was like a calm before the storm. Yeah. The guys were really locked in because it is Georgia Tech time, man.
One last one. You mentioned that you want to go into Georgia Tech as healthy as possible. How would you kind of assess the health of this team right now? I know Coach Prime mentioned this weekend a little banged up on the offensive line. Yeah. How do you see it right now?
I think the banged up that we have on the offensive line outside of Tyler Brown will all be back in time for Georgia Tech participation or clear because you don't have a lot of serious things taking place. So I think this is probably going into the season opener as healthy as we've been or could hope to be, because the guys who are out, like, Cam has that receiver room has that broken finger. Rock has a hand issue. Dallin is going to be down a couple of weeks with a hand issue, but you're still going into the game with enough depth and talent. Shout out to the recruiting staff. Shout out to the development that's been taking place here, because next man up is just as capable as that first guy.
Last week of camp here at Colorado. We'll be back tomorrow.
Naked.